Ole Miss is celebrating its 50 years of women's basketball. They're wearing throwback jerseys in their white jerseys at home, and Texas in their burnt orange. And you're going to see right away Ole Miss going to pick up the pressure to try to make a statement early.
And Coach O said they may score out of it, but we're sending a message by picking up and trying to trap immediately.
So Rori Harmon, the tremendous point guard for Texas, rises up and knocks down the first basket of the game for the Longhorns. As we take a look at the Ole Miss starters, 3 starters have had career nights in 3 SEC games.
They want to disrupt and turn those into transition buckets.
Shea Holly down to Jones, who's coming off a tremendous game in the Texas win over Tennessee. The Texas starters, as they go back on defense, Rori Harmon, Shea Holly, and we have a new starter. Aaliyah Moore is not going to be available today, so Ndjakalenga Mwenentanda will get the start along with Booker and Jones for Texas. I mentioned Ole Miss coming off a bye week. They went into the bye week with the win over Mississippi State in Starkville. 11 field goals made in that game. 7 of 8 from the free throw line. She hit her only 3-pointer. She was absolutely on fire. 5 on the shot clock. Mwenentanda still dribbling. 1 on the shot clock. Holly has it blocked. And the whistle blown for a shot clock violation in his 5th year at Texas. Of course, had all that success at Mississippi State. Yolette McEwen, in her 7th season at Ole Miss, has led Ole Miss to the NCAA tournament each of the last 3 years. A couple of seasons ago, had that big victory over Stanford. And they may play a little similar defense regarding Rori Harmon in this game. To that, we'll talk about that as the shot clock winds down. 3 on the shot clock. Sadler with the ball, blocked by Jones and stolen back by Sadler. And she puts it in. What a turn of events. On the other end, the whistle blew when the shot clock violation occurred. This time, when Jones got the rebound, it did not, as Shea Holly drives the baseline.
Well, I know Vic Schaefer thought it should have been their ball, but there's that old adage, the ball don't lie. And so I agree with you, because the whistle probably saved 2 points for Texas.
And it's off Ole Miss. Ole Miss just under 6 3-pointers a game, so more than Texas. But really, as you mentioned, they love the mid-range as Mwenentanda drives in.
Want to get to the rim or will knock down that mid-range.
That's appropriate that Ole Miss is wearing the throwback jerseys to the 80s today.
And Brendan, we talked about how both these teams want to turn you over. Both these teams are really good on the glass. I think it's possessions game. Who's going to get the most shots up?
Chinu.
And against Tennessee, another long team, Texas struggled at times to get the ball inbound and cleanland. Eager to see any adjustments here this evening.
Taylor Jones, Van Chancellor, 4-time WNBA champion with the Houston Comets, coached here at Ole Miss.
How cleanly can both these teams get into their half-court offense? We've seen some time get taken off the clock on both ends for both these teams.
High arcing shot from Madison Booker.
But I've been giving so much, so many more opportunities, and I want to do the state justice by making the most of this opportunity.
Lucy Harris, that led Delta State to 3 national championships in the 70s, grew up in Mississippi, and so it's so great to hear Madison Booker talk about that legacy. You have had great balanced scoring here in the early going. Both teams, 4 of the 5 starters for Ole Miss have scored. All 5 Texas starters have scored so far. As Kennedy Todd Williams on the road, you're playing your 3rd game in 6 days, Texas, to get everybody in the scoring column early.
I think, one, it just makes it more versatile. You can't key on one person. I think for Texas, and we saw this against the Lady Vols.
Taylor Jones, who spent her first 2 years at Oregon State before transferring to Texas. First 3 years, at Oregon State. She came to Texas last year, was all Big 12 honorable mention. Maddie Scott from the SEC logo. Harmon into the paint. money.
Their ability to get to that spot, whether it's the short corner spot or middle of the paint, and then just elevate.
We hear announcers, and I talk about it a lot too, that it's a lost art form in the game today. So Texas much shorter in the bench with that
third game in 6 days for Texas, and we know this is an Ole Miss defense that may not feast early in a game. One thing Ole Miss has done really well so far is made Texas get deep into the shot clock, made them start these sets later than they want to, so they can't get into multiple options.
Shea Holly from the corner. A couple of players going to the floor. A foul called. Oldacre at the line, misses her first, along with Kennedy Todd Williams will come back in for Ole Miss. And Oldacre misses both. Star Jacobs there for the rebound. Under a minute to play in the first quarter. And a beautiful shot. Booker going to work.
I would go right at Chino if I'm Texas.
And Booker back irons it. Oldacre rebounds it. And now this time Oldacre called for the clamp. And at the free throw line, Ewala. And number 2, South Carolina in Knoxville to take on Talasia Cooper. And number 17, Tennessee at 7. Wow, Tennessee, 4 losses by single digits total.
4 points or less.
Shot clock is off. 6 seconds left in the first quarter. Clearing the lane for Harmon. She is blocked. Oldacre has it tied up, and with .7 on the clock, Ole Miss shooting 64% in the first quarter.
Administrators and to the SEC as a whole, I thought it was very fitting that former head coaches of Ole Miss spoke about Pat Summitt this week, Van Chancellor as well as Kel Ross, talking about how if they didn't bring it, Pat challenged them because Pat believed in the better good and was always willing to help them be better, even at the detriment of Tennessee.
And it's just so important to honor Pat Summitt and all those who came before. We appreciate her so much as we start here in the second quarter.
But that is 17-point difference in their scoring home and away, and their opponent's 12 points a game different. And then, to me, it's the biggest thing is on the glass.
On that play, Oldacre picked up her second foul.
Can we just talk about the faith Coach Joe has in the freshman Chinu? He's got those 2 quick fouls and has left her on the floor.
That's really remarkable. I mean, she is a 21-year-old freshman. She's not a typical freshman, as Taylor Jones back on the court.
When you got 2 6-year players on the floor, and Star Jacobs and Taylor Jones. I'm sorry, in my senior year after 4, my body was telling me it's done. I don't know how these women are still doing it.
This year, I bet in the last several years for Vic Schaefer, he has not run much zone at all. He is a hard-nosed man-to-man coach and has been for years.
Great box out by Texas. And that was one thing Vic Schaefer said to us today. Our rebounder numbers are good, but our box outs are not. It's an area of concern for him. He knows they need to get better at it. Well, Ole Miss traditionally, and Coach Joe said that, we've got our identity. It is back to defend and disrupt. But they feed off their defense. And so now as Texas is scoring, it's almost chicken and egg. They got to get stops to where their mojo gets going on the offensive end. Overload again.
And there it is to Jones, and she is fouled.
Which I think is difficult. Well, here comes Ewala because they don't have the size to match up with Jones.
So the fouls are piling up now for Ole Miss with Chinu, Sadler, and Jacobs, all with 2 fouls. Ole Miss brings Christine Ewala back into the game.
The player to watch for Ole Miss against the zone is Madison Scott. Her ability to flash as well as seal on the weak side.
Chinu through several defenders to score and finally get Ole Miss on the scoreboard here in the second quarter.
Yeah, like I said, watch Chinu in the half court. This freshman is special.
She's got 10 points as Rori Harmon.
And Brenda, because neither of these teams shoot a lot of threes, you're seeing players go under the high on-ball screens to beat them at a spot.
Maddie Scott to the free throw line, coming off that 30-point game in the win over Mississippi State. As she completes in the quarter, Texas 5 of 8 from the field. Ole Miss just 2 of 11. And Booker still can't quite find the stroke. And she's good at the mid-range game. She's great at the mid-range game.
I was going to say,
right?
Let's give her due. She is great.
As a foul is committed on the floor. She just picked up her second foul, though, in back-to-back defensive trips for Texas. Keyshawn Gilbert lead number 3 Iowa State against Caleb Love. And you see the free throws popping up there. Ole Miss 8 of 11 so far. Texas just 4 for 6. And that's something both teams typically do well. So advantage Ole Miss right now on getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, I mean, for Texas, they're second in the country in free throws made, 5th in free throws attempted per game.
And that's part of why Vic Schaefer was saying go to the basket. Chinu, blocked by Madison Booker, who already had 2 fouls, but just erased that shot. She passes off to Shea Holly, no. The rebound attempt is no good, and Holly picks up a foul. Now they're getting a chance to go to the free throw line. Siri Chinu, who since early in the year has increased her field goal percentage. 4 seconds. Taylor Jones out to Harmon, who doesn't shoot a lot of three-pointers. Short on that one. It hits the rim, and in the scramble for the ball.
And saves the possession.
So the shot clock went all the way down. The buzzer went off. Texas grazed the rim with the Rori Harmon shot, and now they get an extra possession. Jones is fouled on the shot. So the second foul on Iwala sends Taylor Jones to the free throw line. The top team in the West. NBA countdown tips off.
They could go 2 for 1 here if they wanted.
Iwala posting up Jones. A little extra move underneath. You mentioned the 2 for 1 Ole Miss. They could get another possession here. Booker misses again. Booker 2 for 8 in the first half. Coach Yo calling the play from the other end of the court. 6 seconds in the half. Todd Williams pulls up for 3. No, but what a first half for Ole Miss.
And I think for them, the pace of this game needs to pick up if Texas is going to get a W.
It's the 3rd lowest halftime output of the season for Texas. They lost to South Carolina. They came back and beat Richmond. And today just 28.
So now a 3-2 matchup from Texas.
So we've seen Vic Schaefer shifting up his defenses already for Ole Miss, against Ole Miss.
It looks like they went from the matchup zone into man.
As Sadler rises up for a jumper to start things off for Ole Miss. Ole Miss has only lost 1 time all year on this home court. That was against Alabama. Coach Yo told us we didn't make Alabama feel uncomfortable in that game. That's the only game they've lost here at home.
Alabama feasted from 3 that night. Both Zay Green and Aaliyah Nye going off. I think these first 2 minutes are really important for Texas. Establish the pace and how they want this second half to go.
Maddie Scott over Mwenentanda. Texas has only lost twice all year. Both of them were on the road. At Notre Dame in non-conference play. At South Carolina just a couple of weeks ago. And Mwenentanda just backing her way down into the paint for that one. Well,
and by harsh, I mean not doing it right.
As Jones comes away with
mismatch on Taylor Jones down low.
She's got Sadler on her, and Sadler commits the foul. In the SEC, this will become a new rivalry, but Ole Miss has not beaten Texas, as you saw, since 1988. And Shea Holly hits a big three-pointer. KK Deans, no. And a quick shot for Ole Miss. Vic Schaefer, get it back, he says to Booker, as he wants her to handle the ball up top.
Well, last year's point guard, Madison Booker, And so Vic Schaefer pretty much has 2 point guards on the floor at any time.
And Chinu picks up the foul and one, and that's exactly what Vic Schaefer was looking for. You mentioned it, Christy. For those that are not familiar with Texas, Madison Booker last year, when Rori Harmon injured her knee, tore her ACL right before Big 12 play, Madison Booker shifted over. Nice pass inside, but a foul called before the shot. She has to go to the bench with the 12 points and 3 fouls. And that's what you had talked about on the other end. That's what Texas needed to do on the other end as an offensive foul. Yeah, we heard that there was a great managers game between these two last night. Who won that game?
Texas did. If I remember, I think it was like 74-56.
Wow, that's a good memory.
I'm not saying it was correct, but I think that's what they said.
I think that's such a fun tradition as Madison Booker hits that 15-footer. She's hit a couple now here in the third quarter. Texas has outscored Ole Miss 9-4 since the halftime and take the lead. Scott takes the lead right back. Booker, tough shot over Scott. Ole Miss can build on its lead. KK Dean's bucket. Madison Booker, Iwalu might have gotten a piece of it. Oldacre is fouled by Scott. So important as you look ahead to SEC Conference Tournament play. And Mwenentanda
not executed and scored out of a timeout. It's one of the areas that they have excelled in this season.
Scott blocked, fouled, where she's 3 for 3 so far today. Here's our featured ESPN2. And we have received word that Kim Caldwell will be back for Tennessee after giving birth.
They had 5 straight games against ranked opponents. Eager to see how Tennessee responds from that loss to Texas.
This is a player that averages 10 points a game for Texas, almost 7 rebounds, and that's her first.
I wonder just how much the foul trouble and the injury to Moore.
With Aaliyah Moore not available today. She made the trip. She was at shoot-around this morning, but is not able to play today. Booker against Todd Williams. Oldacre tries to hit Lee going backdoor. Gets her own rebound.
Great hustle.
Reset.
Here's the Horns action, that double high on ball screen, trying to get Booker to the rim.
Oldacre too hard, as it was good defense by Iwala, but it will stay Texas basketball.
So what that says to me is who can knock down free throws for the rest of this game. And credit to Ole Miss, so far in SEC play, they're shooting over 80% a game.
Shot clock winding down and right at the buzzer. Texas has 11 turnovers now. They average just 13 turnovers a game, but Ole Miss forces over 23 turnovers per game. Texas typically forces a lot of turnovers also, but Ole Miss has taken pretty good care of it. 5 ties, 7 lead changes. Mwenentanda, boy, it looked like Scott might have got a piece of her arm.
They had success in driving and kicking earlier in this game.
Jacobs, a dangerous pass out to Todd Williams. Todd Williams right into traffic, and Oldacre. So 2 players on the bench with 4 fouls.
If I'm Texas, it's time for the veterans to step up. Taylor Jones, Rori Harmon, Shea Hawley.
Kennedy Todd Williams made the first free throw. She's just 1 of 8 from the floor today. We had such a great talk with her today as she's recovered from that ACL injury last year. What she learned from the bench last season. Jones on the block, spins, got it. 11 seconds remaining. KK Deans crossing half court. Deans. Scott Splits the defenders, hangs, no. And we will go to the fourth quarter with Ole Miss leading by 2 in the win over Mississippi State. They've had a week off, and Coach Yo talked to us at practice today about the cumulative effect of their defense. And with Texas having a short bench, with Aaliyah Moore not available today, they've only got 4 points off their bench today, has Texas. And Ole Miss has been wearing them down. We'll see what happens here in the fourth quarter as Ole Miss leads by 2. Jordan Lee back irons that first attempt of the quarter. Sadler. And Jones comes away with a rebound.
No stats going to give her credit for that, but Mwenentanda's rotation there affected Sandler's shot.
Texas needs to find some offense here. This is a team that averages 87 points a game typically, and they've got just 45 points. Madison Booker with 4 fouls, as well as Kyla Oldacre with 4. It will become a game of attrition and possibly free throw shooting here down the stretch, as that one is blocked. And Sadler with the three-pointer. Rori Harmon keeps her dribble, fades, no. Jones there for the offensive board, but right away, Todd Williams and Star Jacobs are there to tie it up, and it'll be Ole Miss. You mentioned three-point shooting, not a big factor for either of these teams. Ole Miss with an advantage on Texas today, as they've made 4, Texas just 1 on the afternoon. Todd Williams pulls up, got it. And they get it back out to Rori Harmon. Jones working hard on the block, goes against Scott, muscles it in. Tough shot.
Well, you combine that with the lack of paint points. Going into the first media break of the second quarter, so that's almost 20 minutes of play since then. Only 10 points in the paint.
And to answer your question, Madison Booker will check in at the next buzzer. 5 of 8 from the field. She's made all 6 of her free throws, and she makes that one. Curtis Jones, Keyshawn Gilbert lead Iowa State against Caleb Love and Arizona in the Big 12. 6-point lead for Ole Miss. Madison Scott, bucket. 17 points now for Scott.
That elbow jumper is just money for Madison Scott.
These two teams have not played one another since 2009. Of course, Texas just becoming a member of the SEC this year. Too strong from Jones, and he goes out of bounds off Ole Miss. Madison Booker held to just 8 points today on 4 of 12 from the court. Scott got a piece of that, and none of the officials saw who it went off, so they said jump ball, and that's possession arrow Texas.
I mean, if nothing else, Ole Miss gets away, because otherwise it was going to be Texas the ball out of bounds, so they'll get the next held ball.
5:23 remaining, 3 seconds on the shot clock. Rori Harmon needs to get it up, doesn't recognize, and has it blocked, and a shot clock violation. Scott pulls up, no. What a rebound from Star Jacobs. She's rejected, and 2 Ole Miss players are on the floor. Texas has numbers, 5 on 3. They go inside to Jones, and Jones somehow able to score through contact.
Well, if you're a Texas fan, this is what you're used to. The defense with the block, getting the stop, and now pushing tempo. Booker surveying the floor. Then the freshman Preston realizes she's got Jones with the mismatch down low. Jones just powers that up.
And Jones completes the three-point play. This is an important stretch of the game. Todd Williams, no. Rori Harmon comes away with the rebound.
I know Kennedy Todd Williams can make that shot, but I didn't like that. You've got the lead. No one else touched the ball that possession.
Jones triple teamed. So not only is Taylor Jones going to the free throw line because she was fouled on the shot, Texas will be going to the free throw line here down the stretch.
And without time going off the clock.
That's right. But Texas has drawn it within 3.
Madison Scott, another play on the floor, that ran point guard for Ole Miss last year due to so many injuries. And they were trying to get her the ball to let her execute a play.
Todd Williams, what a tough shot over Jones inside. And Ole Miss capitalizes. Booker, who's been held to just 8 points today, is fouled. And as we mentioned, and Booker hits the first. 5 top 15 teams. It starts at noon Eastern with number 2 South Carolina hosting Auburn. Scott throws it to no one. That's 8 turnovers now for Ole Miss.
Chino rose from the corner, and Madison Booker expected her to be in the corner. And that's going to be 5 on Sandler. Kennedy Todd Williams or Madison Scott will be running the point for Ole Miss. But she's got 2 true posts on the floor with Madison Scott.
Here's the foul trouble. Jacobs and Iwala also with 4. Ole Miss with a 2-point lead.
Good help there by Jones.
Iwala. No. Oh, and lucky she didn't get called for a foul.
This is an ISO play for Rori Harmon to try to just go one-on-one there. Well defended by Kennedy Todd Williams.
Jones, a lot of body, but toughs it out and hits it. A new season high for Jones, and more importantly, ties it up with under 2 minutes to play. Kennedy Todd Williams looking for somewhere to go with it, and Coach Yo calls a timeout. 1:37 remaining in the game. Remember, Ole Miss had led by 7 points in this quarter. They haven't scored in the last 2.5 minutes. 5 on the shot clock. Star Jacobs short. And Texas with the basketball with an opportunity to take the lead for the first time since the 5:49 mark in the third quarter.
Trying to get the ball inside to Jones there on that play.
Booker rises up short, tracks down her own rebound. She knew immediately that she had missed it. Gets the offensive rebound and a shot clock reset to 20. And Vic Schaefer calls a timeout. So 18 seconds on the shot clock, 37 remaining in the game. Rori Harmon to trigger it in from the baseline.
And they're going to go for best shot. High low.
Taylor Jones in the middle, open. Booker puts it in. Huge shot. The first lead for Texas since the 5:49 mark in the third quarter.
And Coach Yo not calling timeout to advance, not calling timeout to get anything set up.
Ole Miss down 2. Booker knocks it out of bounds. 13.4 remaining, and Coach Yo says timeout.
And they're going with size on the ball, putting Taylor Jones to try to disrupt the natural inbounds pass.
Ole Miss, one of their last 6. They haven't scored in the last 4 minutes. They missed that one by Scott, and a timeout called by Texas. So Texas will not advance. 2.6 remaining in the game. The Longhorns up by 2.
And Brenda, they are out of timeouts.
They get it inbounds to Rori Harmon. And she misses the first. Harmon for the second. Got it. 3-point lead. And now Coach Yo and Ole Miss will call a timeout.
So right now you've got 3 3-point shooters on the floor between KK Deans, Kennedy Todd Williams, as well as Chinu.
Ole Miss inbounds. Booker steals it away, and that's the ball game. Texas escapes with the win after being down by 7 points and close out on an 8-0 run.